Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Welcome to episode 278 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. My guest on today's show is a developer, speaker, blogger, and marketer who enjoys helping people reach their goals by using the power of social media. He is currently a learner advocate for egghead.io and presentation director for Kansas City Women in Technology. So welcome to the podcast, Will Johnson.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here. I'm a self-taught developer. I've been working in tech for about a year now. I'm a father of 6 kids. So me and my wife kind of work together so we can get our way into tech. And it's been quite the journey so far.
Yeah. So you mentioned your wife there. So can I take from that you're both new to the tech industry?
Actually, she works from home. I'm sorry, she stays at home. When I say we work together, it's kind of like, she took over like the kids and, supported me in that while I was able to spend the time learning to code and things like that.
Right. Understood. Fine. Okay. Right. So we're going to get into the flow. I think you've given us a bit of an understanding of what you're currently doing. And obviously we're going to touch on various aspects of how you got into tech later on. So if we just start with maybe a career tip, for those who are thinking about coming into the industry, one that they may not be aware of and perhaps should be?
Sure. I think a good one is to be focused on learning one thing, because a lot of people think that, okay, if I learn, 4 different languages or 5 different frameworks, it'll, make me look more appealing to employers. And that's not really the case, because one, people will, as long as you know the basics of what's going on, like, of programming itself, they don't mind if you don't know the language. They know you can learn it. I've seen that happen plenty of times. And it spreads your time out. Instead of being like mediocre at a bunch of different things, if you focus on one thing, whether that's, JavaScript, Python, whatever thing you decide to pick, you'll be more skilled at it because you put more time in it and didn't spread it, in 5 different directions.
Yeah, so you put a lot of value in making sure that you understand the fundamentals, presumably.
Yes. Instead of jumping on to several different things.
Yeah, good. Okay. And Will, can you tell us maybe about your worst career moment to date?
Well, luckily, things have been so far so good. I get a lot of support at Egghead, from the developers that are already there. So far there hasn't been anything too crazy or embarrassing that's happened so far.
Right. Well, that's obviously a good thing to hear, isn't it? So, I wish you all the best with your career in terms of making sure that you avoid those worst moments. Definitely. Right.
You.
Okay. So, just moving on to the next obvious question as a follow up to that. So, can you tell us maybe about your career highlight to date?
Sure. Probably there's quite, I wouldn't say quite a few, but there's a couple that kind of stand out to me. One is that it was a feature that I requested to be on Egghead, and it was something simple like be able to have the instructors, and the people don't know what Egghead is. It's a web development education company. So they make courses to teach people web development. And so when instructors would comment, it was just like a regular name, it would like show up. It really didn't stand out that this was the actual instructor answering this question. So I requested that we actually, do some design and make it actually stand out. And that actually went into Egghead. So that was cool. And a lot of the instructors actually like it because it, helps them stand out and people know that this instructor is here helping you as well. And that makes people want to comment more because they kind of see that, this is not a comment that's going to be left in the dust. And also there was another a feature that someone else requested to have like people's names show up dynamically on the course illustrations, because every course has like a personalized illustration, and sometimes we have different illustrators. And so I was able to create that, React component to be able to show that dynamically. I probably say 90% on my own. So that was cool because, it was like my first time doing it, and I was able to get on the site as well. So those are probably my top two things has been pretty great so far.
Great. I mean, that's really good to hear. In terms of, obviously, you said the 90%, the 10%. How did you manage to sort of get the input to sort of help you?
The reason why that it was like the 10% because it was using something called Lodash, which I've never used before. So I had to pair with one of the developers that work here already and kind of read the doc. So and it was kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what this is. And then I kind of like did some research on my own and came back and was like, okay, is this how it's supposed to work? So it was like, like a little bit of back and forth between me and him to get it working. So that was interesting.
Good. I mean, that sounds a bit like sort of mentoring, really, I suppose.
Yeah, it wasn't like straight up give you the answer, but it was kind of like, here's the thing. And then I came back with, what I found.
Great. All right. Good. So, Will, what excites you about the industry and the future of careers in IT?
That's a really good question. And there's a lot that is exciting, especially like with things like serverless taking off and, with AWS becoming like more and more powerful. It's just like a lot of things. So basically that like the serverless like cloud infrastructure, because it's such a different, at least from what I've seen, such a different like paradigm shift of what we're currently doing. So it would be I'm really excited to see where that goes, and how I can, plant my flag there as well, because it's really exciting to see. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of the sort of direction of technology in general, what are you most optimistic about?
The one thing I see that is kind of exciting, that keeps me optimistic, is the amount of community people like building their own tools, and it like getting like more and more acceptance and people trying it. Because a lot of times it was like someone would come out with something, and people kind of would just stick with that. And it was kind of like harder to get people to try new things, it seems like. But now it seems like people are more and more willing to try new things, and do things that are kind of against the norm. Like, when React came out and people were complaining about the JSX. Um, and it seems like people really aren't doing that as much as anymore. Like when someone introduces something completely new and completely different that may go against, what we're used to, people are like more willing to accept it. And then that leads to more people working on it to like make it better. And that's like really, really excites me. I want to see like what other tools people can create, in their spare time, release it to the community, and how everyone can come together and make it like a really cool thing. Like that's really exciting.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. I think you're right in pointing out the sort of the more acceptable, if you like, it's more acceptable to do things like that. People are more understanding and willing to consider different ways and different approaches and different tools. So yes, I think you're right, and that's something hopefully that will continue.
Yeah, I agree, because it's been exciting to see. Like I know someone who's making some stuff with MDX, which is like a way to write Markdown, but like using React components. And then so someone else took that and then they create a MDX version for Vue, so you can use Vue components in Markdown. So so it's like just really cool seeing all this stuff going on.
Yeah. Good. Okay. We're going to go into the reveal round now. We're going to find out a little bit more about you and the way you think. You ready for this?
Sure.
So, what first attracted you to a career in IT?
First it was way back in the day, like I don't know, 2004, 2005. I had a MySpace page and I was like really, really into customizing it. So I had like a lot of effects and things and stuff like that on my page that my friends and stuff didn't have. And then people would ask me to do theirs. So I would end up doing it, for free, because I liked doing it. But I actually didn't know that it was like a job. Like I didn't know that you could get paid. I thought that this was just MySpace. I had no idea websites was written the same way that MySpace was. Um, So something I was always being interested in. I just didn't know how to get into it. So finally, when I seen that someone was talking about web development, I was like, "Oh, this is the same stuff I was doing on MySpace." So that kind of got me excited. So I was like, "Okay, I kind of understand what's going on already."
Good. Okay. And when did you make that decision, really, that you wanted to actually have a career in IT?
I would say it was like late 2018.
Uh huh.
I tried like a lot of different things, but this is probably the thing that I liked the most, that I stuck with and wanted to keep doing.
Good. Okay. And what is the best career advice you've ever received?
The best career advice I ever received is kind of like from is it a League of Their Own? It's like type advice like build it and they will come. But basically, like if you put in the work and put yourself out there, then good opportunities will come your way. That's actually how I got my job, was from putting my work out there on Twitter and blogging and things like that. Um, so I would definitely say the best thing I've heard is like just keep putting in the work, like as in like showcasing it publicly, type of thing, and then good opportunities will come your way.
Yeah, I think the showcasing is a bit of an addition to what you were saying, actually, because obviously, if you build something and don't let people know it's there, then they're not
Yeah.
going to come. So I think your point, I think more than anything else, it's not only build it, but let people know you built it.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's
Yeah.
a book called Show Your Work, that kind of goes into that, like the benefits of putting yourself out there. And then if you're in the web development world, there's a movement called Learn in Public, which is kind of like the same concept. So those, if you want more information, those are like two things you can look up.
Yeah. Great. Okay. And what is the worst career advice you've ever received?
The for well, for me personally, I say the worst career advice I've ever received is try to work for a big company and don't work for a small company, because if you work for a small company, you'll be stretched too thin. And like, oh, it's like always bad stuff about working for small companies, and like a big company is kind of like the best route to go for job security and et cetera, et cetera. But for me personally, because Egghead is a small company, like 15 employees, I truly enjoy
Yeah.
working for a small company. I like that I get to, do different things and learn different things, like even outside of web development, like I get to learn, marketing and things like that. So I truly enjoy that multi-hat thing, that I get to do with Egghead. It makes a day never boring, because there's so many different things that I'm doing. So that's probably the worst advice that I've gotten, was definitely that, because I truly enjoy the small company life.
Yes, I think you can argue either way. There are benefits for small companies and benefits for large companies. I started with a smaller company, and it was ideal for me. I learned a lot about a lot of different things, and then I went to a big company. So yes, I think, yep, I wouldn't disagree from your own perspective that a small company is where you want to be. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Good. If you were to begin your career again in today's world, what would you do? Now, I know this is quite a recent thing for you anyway, so it may be very much that you'd do the same thing, but is there anything different maybe that you've learned that you would do slightly differently?
Yes, it even has been recent. I definitely would say is some different things I would do. One thing I would do is I would try to build something more significant. Like I would build like smaller things, which is fine, but it would be like, a JavaScript quiz or something like that. I would like try to really build something more significant that had like a back end that, let you log in, that, that persisted, throughout you closing the browser and things like that. So I think I would have tried to build something more significant, because I feel like even though it may have not been the best code, it would just give me more experience of what it's like to, work with the app from front to back. Because I feel like that's um, one of the things I was lacking, because everything I did was so isolated and it was kind of detached from, what it's like working on a actual application, for a company.
And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
Currently, right now, I'm working on learning Next.js, because we're redoing our front end. So I'm currently focusing on that at the moment, and I'm also doing like educational things as well. because I know that there are a lot of like beginners learning Ruby on Rails, which is the what our site is actually built on. But I see there's not a lot of beginner content from Ruby on Rails. It's either like really really old and the framework has changed or and things like that. So I'm working on making more educational content for Ruby on Rails for people who are more of in a beginning stage.
Good. Okay. And what's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
I would say it's listening. And taking notes. Like you put those two together. Like when you're listening to someone, take notes, because you don't want to. If someone says, hey, we did this, you don't want to come back and, have that same question. And I'm sure they probably won't mind, but it just shows like some more initiative that, okay, they remember what I told them and they went their own way with it. So listening and taking notes is probably the two things that will serve you well throughout your career.
Yes. Good advice, definitely. And what do you do to keep your own career energized?
For me, I really like to try new things. So if there's, something that I'm not, familiar with, I like to give it a try it out, read about it, learn about it. And that's kind of easy to do in web development because there's so many, things that you can do. So there's
Yeah.
always something you can learn, but then also, you don't want to go overboard and feel like you need to learn everything. But keep a pulse on what's happening out there and what people are talking about, what's showing more adoption, and just see if I can learn it and put it into my tool belt. So that's probably my main thing, just trying new things so nothing ever gets stale.
And what do you do in your spare time away from technology?
That's a great question. The main thing that I do, besides spending time with the kids and my wife, of course, um, is I like to read books a lot. Probably one of my favorite books ever is this book called The Four Agreements, and it's just really about like um, and a way to like keep things calm and when you're dealing with people and knowing that other people are going through things and kind of like keeping a level head and things like that. Like it's a really really good book. So reading is like one, and I also like to write as well. I actually wrote a book myself about how to use Twitter to break into tech. So like those are probably like my main things, and probably like one like off the wall thing I guess is I like doing like sleight of hand magic tricks. Like I know a couple of card tricks and kind of a couple of tricks that you can use with balls that I've learned from like watching YouTube videos. So those are probably like the top two things I do when I'm not working on something.
Sure. Are they useful things to have when you've got 6 kids?
Yes, especially when they want to have like a sleepover or something. And
Yep. Cool. Okay. Will, can you share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
say the parting career advice I say is do your best to like build relationships with people, and not like in the in the way people think of it in like the networking way, like trying to get something out of people, but like build genuine relationships, get to know people, get to know their interests, because at the end of the day, at the core, you know even though we're working with technology, this is, it's humans. You're working with people. The products that we're making, people are going to use them. So I think that connecting with people, just, beyond just the technology is a way to help advance your career. Just because, you never know what opportunities might come out of that. And you just never know who you might meet or help and things like that. Because the more people I've met, the better my career has gotten in really the happier I've been because I can, you know, chat with people, help them out, help them get over humps. Has been really rewarding just working with people.
Yes, that's good to hear. I think you're right. I think community, knowing people, sharing advice, all of those things, they definitely help. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly. Both parties will want to definitely take advantage of that.
Exactly, yeah. And Will, how can we find out more about you and connect with you?
Sure. So the best way is on Twitter. That's where I'm the most active. So I'm at Will Johnson IO on Twitter. And I also have a website where I blog basically about Ruby on Rails stuff, like as I learn something new or as I get a better understanding, and that's williamjohnson.dev. And those are probably the two best places to catch me.
Good. Okay, great. Will, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I had a good time.
Hi, Phil here again. Well, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with today's guest. You can find full show notes on the website at itcareerenergizer.com/e and the number of the episode you've been listening to. If you haven't already subscribed to the show, please make sure that you do so that you get episodes automatically downloaded to your device every Monday. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.